Okay, in this video we are going to look at solving this using the square root property, all right? And what we're going to do is it's telling us here that you're going to use one of the roots from part A. So that what they're kind of telling you is they're giving you a big thing that says hint, 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 right? It means that, you know, your answer to these is going to involve using, you know, either 20, 6i, or 18i, right? So it's going to be one of those things. So we'll figure that out as we go. So the very first thing is when you're going to use the square root property, right? You use this in a case when you have something that you're not really sure if you could factor or whatever, but you've got a squared term and a constant. So what you do is you separate them so that you get the squared term, all right, on one side, okay, and then you get the constant on the other, okay? So, well, first thing we got to do is do a little rearrangement. So we're going to put this thing over here, right? And so this is going to become negative 4g squared equals 144. I hate that this line always goes to the too thick option. I tried changing it in settings, but it won't let me. All right, now that I'm done complaining, next. Now you want g squared by itself. In order to take the square root of this, I got to get rid of that, right? So let's do it. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. That's our next step, okay? And this is going to give me g squared is equal to negative 36, okay? And then the last step now is we're going to use the square root property. And the square root says that we can take the square root of both sides because, remember, we can do whatever we want to quadratic equations provided we do the same thing to both sides. And we can do that with any equation in algebra, right? That's the overriding principle of balanced equations. You can do what you want, but just do it to everything, right? So away we go, right? Square roots. So square root of g squared is g. And then the square root of this is going to be plus and minus. I have a negative in here, so that's your hint that you're going to have an I. And then the square root of 36 is 6. So we have this g equals the square root, positive and negative 6i. And at this point, you are basically finished. You have solved the equation. If you put this into the equation, right, and we're not going to do that, but if we put this into the equation, that will satisfy this and make it equal 0. All right? You would need to know a little more about working with i's than what we've gone over at this point, but that's the general idea. And so here's our solution. It's a complex number, right? And away we go. So that's this one, okay? So we will see you in the next video. Nice and brief and good.